The time now is 23 minutes to 9. One of the UK's largest home builders, Taylor Wimpey, has agreed to change its contract so that the ground rents on new properties won't double every 10 to 15 years. It follows an investigation by the Competition and Markets Authority. Dharshini's back to tell us all about it. How significant is this for leaseholders?
Well, this is something that campaigners, Martha, are celebrating right now. There are over 4 million properties, around a fifth of the total, are owned on a leasehold basis. They're often sold with a contract or a terms by the freeholder, which allows the ground rent, initially perhaps only a couple of £100s, to soar over a number of years. It may double every decade or thereabouts. So it's a guaranteed stream of income if you're a house builder, or a home builder, I should say. But those soaring charges can make it really hard to sell on your property or to get a mortgage. Many people have found themselves trapped unwittingly. So the competition authorities have been looking into whether or not these contracts are clear or fair. This is the third major home builder to agree to changes. There's more in the pipeline. But in the meantime, if you are buying a property for another home builder, the advice is check the small print very, very carefully indeed. The government is looking at wider reforms. But here's a question, Martha. Where are home builders going to make their money if they can't rely on this stream of income? Because we all know it's got to come from somewhere.
Dharshini, thank you. Well, we are joined now by Dr. Michael Grenfell, as Executive Director for Enforcement at the Competition and Markets Authority. Morning.
Good morning.
So as Dharshini has been explaining to us, I mean, this really is very important for a lot of homeowners.
That's absolutely right. I think it's good news for owners of leasehold properties because if you've got those doubling ground rent clauses, that is a worry for you because if they double every 10 years, that starts to go up very, very dramatically, and it makes it much harder to sell your leasehold property or to try and mortgage it if you need a loan. So what we have secured today from Taylor Wimpey, one of Britain's biggest house builders, is a commitment that those doubling ground rent clauses will go completely and people can have peace of mind about that.
So that's Taylor Wimpey, but what about remaining freeholders?
Well, we've already secured similar commitments from Countryside Property, which is another very, very large developer and the other big house builder that have these clauses, and also from Aviva, which is one of the investment companies that is a freeholder. There are other freeholders. We are pursuing a number of them. And one of the things we've secured in today's formal commitments is where those freeholders bought from Taylor Wimpey will give those freeholders financial incentives to get rid of their doubling ground rent clauses as well.
And what about the question that Dharshini raised, which is where are the property developers going to get their profits from? I mean, an important question given the housing shortage in this country.
Well, that is a real issue. What our concern is that these ground rents don't represent any real cost. It's not like service charges on a block of flats, which represents a real cost that is reimbursed. There is no real cost on that, and it's just something that people who buy a property which is leasehold suddenly find not only that they were paying ground rents, but that those would double exponentially. And we think that that is an unfair contract term, and we're very pleased that Taylor Wimpey and Countryside before it and Aviva engaged constructively with us, recognised the issue and have now got rid of it. And I think it's worth also saying, and that speaks to how ground rent don't reflect real costs for the freeholder, that the government is proposing legislation that for future leasehold properties there won't be ground rent clauses at all.
Dr. Michael Grenfell from the Competitions and Markets Authority, thank you.
The time is 19 minutes to 9.